Hello, everybody. We are live. Catching up with the action at round three of the MGI Grand Slam, and none other than former world champion Wellington Jighere is our first match up on stream against Jimoh Saheed, who we saw last week on my own channel put up some pretty impressive performances on stream. So, still just futzing a little bit with some of the elements here, trying to make sure that everything looks just right. Of course, as always, as we're getting set up, we're at a new venue, a few other things to take care of. Never know what interesting things are going to happen. So, bear with us in these first few rounds as we sort of get things squared away from the production standpoint here. But I'm very excited to start to bring you guys some really high level Scrabble action. Going to do our best to keep that board sharp, but of course we do have the analysis board here whenever we need it. Ooh, wow. We have that, but we have the analysis board. If the board shot gets a little bit difficult to see, we'll simply cut to the analysis board, and we can use this area right here to look at a clean shot of the board. So hello to those of you, the early risers in the chat. I am very excited for this game. So I know that Wellington plays upside down. So we may be able to sort of stick to one board shot here for a while. So we'll see what happens with that. But so you can see it's still very early. Just a quick breakdown of what we're looking at in terms of the Sorry, forgot my microphone on this scene. So it's a 3-day event here. We are just in the early stages of day 1. We have 3 more rounds until lunch break, and then 6 through 10. It's a 10-round day. Same thing on day 2, just a little bit different in terms of there's 1 extra round before lunch, 1 fewer after. Then on day 3, we finish up through rounds 24, and the top 2 finishers will play a best of 5 finals. So very, very exciting. Players are basically ready to go. We are going to be providing those. These racks are obviously not accurate. So once the game gets underway, we should be good to go with updating those racks. But yeah, I'm very excited. It's going to be a full weekend of Scrabble for me. I'll be with you the whole way, and we potentially have some special guests as well. So I am going to give the go-ahead to begin this game to the players at any time in case our producers behind the scenes are curious in any way. We're ready to rock over here. So this obviously should be a good matchup. It's always a treat to watch Wellington compete. It really is a pleasure for me. I do look forward to the time where I would get to play Wellington myself. Thank you very much to Macho of Lagos. I appreciate that. And hello to NASA1, obviously Blue Skies. Great to see you as well. And I expect over the course of this broadcast, which is going to be a long one, many hours, we will get to say hi to lots more of you Scrabble fans out there. So hopefully the timers are at least visible enough. Maybe you can see a little bit of lag potentially coming through there. Looks like Wellington exchanging tiles. Mitsurugi, for sure I will. For sure I will keep those files. Not sure what Wellington had there to start. It's usually a few seconds delay to get the racks. Hey, Natalie, nice to see you. So hopefully this is working with the racks. Racks updating working. I will ask. So definitely gonna need to know what what tiles the players will have in order to properly analyze what's going on here. But looked like Wellington exchanged. Yeah, those racks unfortunately are just testing racks. Those are not the actual racks of the players here. So hopefully we will get that. I know, wouldn't that be nice? So that's definitely number one priority right now is going to be to figure out what the players have. But of course, we're still going to be seeing some plays hit the board while we get that sorted out. So I think the board was flipped here. I see the timers look a little off. Hopefully they're visible enough. We're going to have to make do with good enough for now in some of these areas. I think, well, we're going to get a play here. And it's just simply dib. So only so much we can know about that, but let's at least keep the scores up to date. Wellington getting set to play very fast here. And again, if the board gets too blurry, I will be able to show you guys a cleaner picture of it. Hey, thanks, Sockhampton. We're just getting started here. And it looks like a nice bingo by Wellington. So he had intorts on his rack. Rather than play that with dibs, he correctly gets a handful more points. 77 points for him there with the bingo. Nicely done. So obviously we do not know Saheed's rack here, but he had just played dib for a short score, so that would suggest that he has 4 tiles that are not quite as grim as the ones that you see on screen for him here. Again, those are not accurate. So maybe looks like he's struggling with some consonants instead. He has to play Clint through the eye of introits. Not what he wants to do. I'm sure maybe dib was a play that left one vowel and he drew a whole bunch of consonants. So unfortunate there. Oops, hold on. I gave him the wrong score. Wait, we'll fix this. There, score 77 to 21 now. So yes, the Wellington's rack, which again is not accurate yet. We're gonna fix it soon, I'm sure. I'm just pinging like mad to make. There we go. Okay, we have our first, what I think is an actual rack here. Wellington's post-bingo draw after his bingo of introits. So this is going to add a lot for the racks to be accurate. So yeah, what's the play here? So he has an S. He likes to see that. A couple good S spots on the board with dibs and Clints. And hold on, let me see if I can get the timers. All right, they're good enough for now. We'll fix it later. As long as you can barely see it, it's okay. So with only one vowel and a Y, Wellington with an S, he's definitely looking to shed that K or Y or G all in one place. And Greik is a very good way of doing just that. He does have to give up his vowel in order to accomplish that goal. But his leave of LNS, even if the L and the N aren't the best friends among those low point tiles, there's definitely better combinations of low point tiles that you can have. They still are likely to mature into a bingo a good amount of the time. So wow, a completely opposite rack for Saheed here. He does have a blank. He likes to see that blank, of course, but paired with a very mismatched set of tiles to go with that blank. 2 U's, 2 I's, the X and the Z. He opts to play XU, Zoo, for 27. That seems as good as anything here. It's tough just because it's going to require several turns worth of massaging for Saheed to get to that bingo with that blank, simply because he has too many problems that he cannot fix all at once. The duplicated I's and U's and the X and the Z together, neither of which are good bingo tiles, obviously good scoring tiles, but with that blank, you're hoping to bingo. So for Wellington, he has a little more time before he's likely to get hit with a counter bingo from Saheed, and Wellington plays Ren, hooking Wex. His reasoning there is surely to set up an even more powerful spot for his S to pluralize. He keeps BLS on his rack there with that play. Seems reasonable. Hopefully you guys can see just enough. Yeah, Sockhampton says it's a whack rack. It is, yeah, but it takes just a little. Hopefully now, for Saheed, there is a good Z spot there on top of Ren. He's actually, oh my gosh, not only, that's incredible. So to his leave of IUZ, the draw of ON for Saheed, leading to an 104-point bingo. That's pretty amazing. Unionize, you see it there, 104 points is going to vault him back into the lead. Pretty amazing. That is quite the pick, as Mitsurugi says. That's awesome. 104 points. How things change, right? Like, that's a big, big difference. Wellington immediately responding here. The rack that you see there is not necessarily accurate. Let's just go back to the main screen. So a pretty clear choice for Wellington here. After Ren, it looks like he drew only one vowel. He would have needed more. His play of Bill is clearly correct here, and it is an even game, 152 apiece after that. So we'll get Saheed's rack shortly. But that is a stunning counter in a game where Wellington was sort of on the verge of potentially landing that second punch, right? He had a really nice bingo leave, and as you can see, it looks like Wellington potentially just drew, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Wellington just played Bill, leaving INST. It looks like he's drawn DET. So the word cook, the word that Saheed played was unionize. for 100. Or perhaps you're asking after the next play by Wellington, which was Bill. We do have the ability to, hopefully you can see this board a little more clearly. So looks like a tricky rack there for Saheed. He has so many vowels, no great place to play his J. Looks like the only place that is reasonable at all to play that J is at the base of the board, making Jaffas. Is this word still? Yeah, okay. And as you can see, there it is. He plays it and finishes his turn pretty quickly there. So Jaffas at the base of the board, leaving AEE. He can't really do too much better than that on that play. Certainly not while also... what have I done here? There we go. Okay, so Dentist, the play for Wellington. As we noted, he drew that nice E combination with his S containing leave. You love to see that on your rack when you're trying to bingo, to pull an E out of the bag. He plays Dentist. That's his only bingo, and he retakes the lead. So we'll see Saheed. If Saheed, I don't know if so that draw of ON to his previous leave containing the blank was quite fortuitous, but it doesn't feel like there's any draw that's, well, I guess there are plenty of draws that could save you leaving AEE. You just have to draw a nice batch of consonants if you are Saheed. So if he was able to do that, then maybe he can bingo again and retake his lead. Otherwise, it's likelier that, oh boy, looks like things are even worse than we imagined. A very, very rough draw for him here. All 7 vowels. So I guess the question for him here is, with 7 vowels, it looks quite grim. You're probably going to have to exchange. On the other hand, he does have the ability to play a few of his vowels if he wants to for a decent score right here with the play of Alone. I don't know if that's worth it, just because when you make a play here, you do give up a really easy triple word score to Wellington in response. So, yeah, the play of Alone looks like it might be worth putting on the board. And it looks like he's going to do that. Looks like Saheed is going to look to do his best to score a bit. Try to keep pace. And you can see Wellington is poised to hit with another bingo here. He's got that second blank. And it's for sure going to play somewhere here. There's a lot of easy spots for him to score pretty well. So for Wellington, he's got the D here of Dentist. That looks like it should be pretty easy to hit some stuff. And what is he going for? What's that? End plane? What could that be? So whatever that is, it's not a word. Whatever that is, it's not a word. I'm going to assume he designated that blank a D, because that's what makes this make any kind of sense at all. I don't know if we're seeing any kind of hold or challenge. So Wellington may have just gotten away with a phony bingo here, when many, many, many valid bingos actually did play. I don't think we're about to see a challenge. So this is a huge, huge missed opportunity here for Saheed to sort of trust his gut, trust his instincts. If he doesn't think this is a word, he definitely should be challenging. I mean, That's obvious. That's obvious. But even if he has any shadow of a doubt here, right? Like even if he's 99% sure this is a word, and it's gonna get past him here. It looks like he's gonna play Avion Eyes. Oh no! So two words here. But I know Wellington's not going to allow this. I can't imagine Wellington will let this stay on the board. So officially now I will give Wellington his points for end plane, which again that's surprising. But this would be stunning to see Wellington accept this. I guess the only reason that you would even hesitate at all is to just see if you have anything good through the A that was just placed out in the triple lane. But yeah, Wellington neutralizing the clock, and we are about to see this word be challenged off the board. So the players are getting up. For anybody that's for anyone that's sort of less familiar with the tournament Scrabble world, what's happening now is the players are consulting a word judge computer. They enter in the word, and the computer tells them whether this is in the dictionary or not. Of course, in this particular case, it is not. So off this word will come, and Wellington will definitely another plane related phony. That's right, Evil Budgie. Two avionics words. But yeah, this is a big swing. So rather than do that, obviously Saheed could have chosen to challenge Wellington's word, and it would be a totally different ball game right now. Instead, it's back to Wellington, who has this 18 minutes on his clock. He's got a whole bunch of places to play here. He can play down to the triple in the lower corner, the lower right-hand corner of the board, and it looks like he's going to do just that with Airy, which looks like a very strong play. Scoring well, hitting the Y on that good spot. Scoring 38 points, in fact. So up he goes to 343, and now this is probably just VA here. That makes some sense. For Saheed, he plays it nearly instantaneously. Probably a little annoyance behind that, quick play on his part, knowing that he's made a critical mistake. But again, it's so early. This is a 24-round main event. This is merely round 3 between the two players. So, hey, these things happen in Scrabble. It's hard. Sometimes you get your wires crossed with a word. And frankly, Wellington is fortunate that he didn't pay a price for playing end plane there. It is worth noting that he had actually a pretty cool... He had a lot of plays there that he could have played to the D of dentist. But let me see if I can do this. How would I do this? See if I can do this and draw like this. Okay, so he plays fauve. That makes a lot of sense. Fauve is a word that you see over and over again in Scrabble because of the UV combination that it contains. Very few letters contain a U and a V together, so it just happens that those few words that do appear quite frequently. So I see the players. We seem to have lost our player cam. That's the problem with the Collins Dictionary. A million ways to spell a word except the word you're trying to make. Yeah, it can be tough sometimes. The Collins Dictionary is quite permissive, and of course that permissivity is sometimes why you just want to keep trying stuff. We need a cat cam, yeah. No cats today. The cats are going to have to wait. But anyway, as I was saying, let's see if this works. Okay. Play of Avo comes down. So not sure. I'll try to refresh the player cams here, and I know things can get a little bit. Oh, there we go. We got him back. Oh man, and look at that. Wellington with a 7-letter bingo on his rack of push rod. I don't believe it plays anywhere, unfortunately for him. Knowing Wellington and his prodigious word knowledge, end plate notwithstanding, Wellington really is very solid on words, and I would be unsurprised if there were a place to play his 7-letter word to see him do it. Instead, he plays shop for 38 points. That seems reasonable. An interesting alternative option would be he could have played, let's see if this works, he could have played uphold right here through this L, keeping that S if he wanted to. But shop scores quite well. It's hard to find too much fault with that at this score just to close off more of the board. So Wellington well on his way to a victory in this game. And you can see it's still early. I have the standings showing up there in the lower corner from time to time. It flips onto the standings so you can see where everybody's at. It looks like Wellington is sitting actually at 12th place right now, and Saheed is in 7th at 2-0 with the lowest margin of victory. Excuse me. So yeah, on this play of end plane here, the crazy thing was with that rack, there were a lot of things that you can play to this D, paneled and planed, in fact. So the valid word in those letters would have played here, but the best play for Wellington would have been a really cool play. Actually, given that it puts an S in the triple lane, it's not clear that it's best, but with this rack that Wellington had here, he could have played Spillian here. Again, the engine turned this up, not me. With all these overlaps, that would have been his highest scoring play. So I don't think this is Saheed's rack unless he has drawn. No, it can't be. The V's are both out there. So it looks like Wellington's rack is accurate. He has a Q. Really, at this point, when you get to this part of the game, it's really all about trying to win the game by as many points as you can and trying to limit your losses by as many points as you can. And that's frustrating at times. It's not that easy to give full focus in games that are really out of hand, as we see OHS go down. So looks like the player cams are on the fritz a little bit, but as long as we have the board, we can at least... The board and the racks are the minimum requirement what we need to keep on analyzing and covering the games. So it is a skill in its own right. Sockhampton, the point difference is a tiebreaker. So when you do see the standings pop up on the bottom of the screen, you'll see that the players are ranked first by their record, and then the tiebreaker is their margin of victory. So it is a pretty important tiebreaker as Wellington plays Arc. It looks like he hasn't committed that play yet. And I will be able to bring you guys tracking in kind of a low-tech way when it matters more. Some interesting plays. Okay, he's shifting to Koki, which makes a lot of sense. Rather than play Arc, leaving his QU, he's spending that Q now while he can. I think this makes more sense. I don't think he's likely to receive a better opportunity for that Q, unless he happened to draw something to the L of in plane, which doesn't seem super likely. So that makes sense to me. Unfortunately for Saheed, he's does not have a place to play Wriggled, but yeah, his play of Wiggle is about to come down. That's as good as he can do here. 39 points. I do expect to see him commit this. There he goes. The timer shifts back over to Wellington. So I'll try to let me see if we can get the player camera back, if possible. I'm gonna just refresh it. So we had a couple different ideas for how to potentially get some of these shots a little crisper. Oh, okay. So I was able to refresh it there. The board camera is certainly the most important. Hopefully we have a nice stable board cam throughout the day. Knock on wood. Okay, so that play by Saheed emptied the bag. So Wellington is going to play rim. He has 2 R's. He's going to get rid of one of the 2, leaving himself with the letters dart. I'm not 100% sure what he hopes to do with that. In fact, it might have been a little bit better had he played... Would it have been better if he played ram instead of rim? I'm not really sure. So anyway, the situation from Saheed's perspective... Oh, Wellington has switched his play to the slightly better ram. The reason that that's better is that if he plays rim... I don't think he has an outplay. But does he have one after ram is the question. I don't know. Let's look. No, he doesn't have one either. Oh, I guess the nice thing about... Okay, so the reason ram is slightly better, I understand it now. Oh, maybe he's switching back. The reason that ram is actually slightly better, though, is that you set up a spot right here to play your eye. You have nice plays with your eye there. So you can either play dire or dite in this spot as a follow-up play. So keeping the eye performs slightly better for that reason. Again, totally academic. Doesn't really have any effect on anything except the margin of victory being ever so slightly higher. But you can see Wellington is focused and trying to maximize that, because from this early point in the tournament, you just can't know how important every little point of spread will be. It could be the case that over time, right? If Wellington makes good decisions in these end games consistently, that number you see on the screen now in the lower corner, all those numbers are pretty close, right? There's a lot of numbers in the low 200s. So every All right, sorry gang, that was on my end. That was definitely me. Got to figure out. Hopefully it's not the quackle that's getting a little crashy. So anyway, correct play by Wellington of ram there. And it's back over to Saheed. Wellington goes up to 475. So this is going to be a pretty solid win for him. Again, sorry about that a moment ago. So, look at this. It looks like Saheed is going to block Wellington's play down there. That makes some sense, but I think he potentially does better by just scoring more points of his own. So it also allows him... Oh, look at that. So there's an outplay. Nice. Even better. An even better reason to play Ram is that Wellington threatens an outplay. I think that was his lone outplay on this board. So he's going to work out very well in the exchange here. So final score 499 to 323. Of course, the players can always, it's up to the players to do their own math. So just because we have a score doesn't mean that the players are going to have that same score, but odds are quite good that they're going to be that same score or something really close to it. So this game really, really hinged on this, middle game play here of, well, first of all, Unionize was a crazy draw for Saheed, but really things started to right here with this play of end plane, right? So you can see there was D-planed, paneled, end planed, M planed, a whole bunch of stuff playable to that D. Instead, we saw, and this was the play I was talking about, which gets the most points, arguably not worth it, putting that S out in the triple. Well, 5 points is a lot. Maybe it is correct to do that. But instead, Wellington goes for the gold here and plays end plane. And it was not challenged. So that's a big missed opportunity. And then to compound matters, an attempt here of avionize. Not a valid word. Looks like a solid play here would be, well, the best play would be challenging, and then potentially a solid play would have been a Viso in that lower corner. But instead, this is really where things got out of hand for Saheed.